When Jesus spoke these words, he did so from an awareness that we have an unlimited source of light. The indwelling Christ is represented by the symbol of light. And in a moment, I'm going to light our Christ candle as a reminder of our responsibility to keep our own light shining brilliantly. And we invite everyone joining us remotely to create a sacred space right where you are by lighting your own candle with us. There we go.
Pretend that it's lit. How's that?
What you say?
Pretend it's lit.
Yeah.
It's lit with our spirit from our heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that it is lit, that Christ's presence within us is always on. And now, let us take a deep cleansing breath together. And we invite that presence and the power of divine goodness. Again, that Christ's presence within each of us. We awaken our awareness and we ask for guidance in speaking and in the movement of our feet. And together, we align our minds and our hearts with divine truth. And with deep and abiding trust, we let go of the past. And now, filled with positive expectancy, we celebrate life like in our song. This is the day. And we vow to move forward with confidence, love, joy, peace, and creativity to a life to become the highest and best of ourselves. And with goodwill, we promote and support the high calling in others. Amen. Again, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for that response. With God as our source, Unity of Columbus inspires people to realize and express their divine nature in an awakening world. This is our mission. My name is Julie Henson. I'm one of your licensed teachers here at Unity on Mays. And our speaker this morning is Shirley Williams. And yes, she too is one of our licensed teachers. And this morning she and I were discussing her last talk where our subject was love. And I was deeply impacted by that talk, and apparently Jim was too, because we were all talking about how love is the prime thing that we need to develop and allow to reign in our lives. So I am looking forward again to Shirley's talk at this Sunday celebration service. And we believe all of you are welcome, those who are here remotely and those who are with us here in the sanctuary this morning. Because as a congregation, we welcome everyone with love and acceptance as we do our part individually and collectively to promote greater understanding among all people in a spirit of unity. Now join me in affirming our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all love. I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment. Take another deep breath. Focus your mind on one thought in that statement and hold it in consciousness. And from the consciousness of that one thought, let us again affirm our statement of faith together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, all love. We are the Church of the Daily Word. Unity publishes the Daily Word magazine. And I'm inviting our board treasurer, well, she's on our board. This is Veronica Carter. She's going to come forward and read the Daily Word for us.
Good morning. Good morning. Today's Daily Word for Saturday, September 17th is pray for others. When I pray with others, I gather all my feelings of love, support, compassion, and protection, and I focus on the highest and best outcomes. I visualize the people, places, or situations that concern me, patiently bringing details and feelings clearly into focus. I do not deny present realities, but I reach beyond them to touch the peace and perfection of God as I pray. Then, through the power of concentration, I send my prayerful energy outward. I relax as I yield my worldly concerns about others to God. I trust in divinely inspired outcomes which so often surpass anything the human mind can imagine. In perfect trust, I say, Amen. In the Bible verse, likewise the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we ought. But that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words, and that's Romans 8:26. But the affirmation today, I'm going to repeat it first and then ask you to join me. I pray and relax into divine possibilities. Together, I pray and relax into divine possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, Jim will play us a meditation song. Then Shirley will give us our meditation for this morning. We'll have some special music. And then Shirley will deliver her message, Bounce Back, on order, the divine principle of order.
I invite you to place your hands in your lap, both feet on the floor, and breathe in slowly and exhale. Another deep breath in. And exhale. Breathe normal. Lay all concerns, wants, and wishes aside. Breathe in love. You are so full of love. There's no room for anything else. Breathe in peace. You are so full of peace. There's no room for anything else. Breathe in light. You're so full of light. There's no room for anything else. In this moment, you are totally immersed in the full presence of God. Allow love to have its way. Feel its healing energy of light flowing in your feet, your ankles, legs, back, spine, all your organs, shoulders, arms, neck, head, every cell and nerve in your body. The light of God is restoring and renewing you, bringing you to wholeness. Your mind is at peace. You recognize your true divinity. You are now perfect, whole, and complete in body, mind, and soul. As you move into the still center of your being, your soul is alive and connected. You are satisfied with the enoughness of who you are. You are satisfied with the present moment. Allow love to reign through and in your being in the silence. Just be in the silence. As we slowly return to this place and time, our hearts are filled with gratitude, and our soul is deeply refreshed. We are so blessed in many ways. We extend this blessing to every living being on this earth, excluding none, all of nature and all creatures, large and small. In the name and nature of the living Christ, we say it is so. Thank you, God. Amen. you, Jim. That's exactly what the lesson is about this morning. In the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, Safan Hassan, an Ethiopian long-distance runner. She lives in the Netherlands, so she was representing the Netherlands. She was running in a 1,500-meter heat, and she was next to last in the last lap of the race. The runner in front of her tripped and fell. Safan then tripped over that runner. And this was a complete fall. I mean, Safan splayed on the track. But what happened next was just simply amazing. She roared back. She went to work. She got up and she caught up with the group, overtook them one by one, and she won the race. And did I mention this happened all within 62 seconds? She didn't stop there. She was on fire. She went on to win the gold in the 5,000 and the 10,000 meter race. Safan made a choice to bounce back, like Jim sung about. Get up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. This is resilience, the ability to bounce back from defeats, discouragements, or hardships. Change is a constant in life, and resilience enables us to adapt to change. These changes show up as difficult times. We struggle with this because we want our lives to flow in order. And we need order. Not only to get back in the race, but to win. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, laid out the principle of order to be practiced to get us through changes that show up as struggles and difficult times. He took order to a higher level of understanding. He called it divine order. And just what is divine order anyway? Fillmore defined order as the first law of the universe, which is kept in perfect harmony all the time. And he goes on to say that this same law is operative in and through our lives. And anyone who holds to faith in divine order can prove the power of God. We all love for our lives to flow in order. We're just humming along, doing what we do, and suddenly we don't know how or why, but we fall down. A fall is not always a physical fall. It could be a fall from grace, a feeling of separation from God. In Kentucky, it was the devastating flood. In California, the deadly wildfires. It could be a health diagnosis, the crisis of the pandemic, unexpected financial expenses. In any event, the dream that you had for yourself has just been shattered. Your life feels as if it is no longer in order, much less divine order. In fact, there is a feeling and appearance of disorder. I tell you, being human can be messy at times. Would you agree? Try as we will, we can't escape experiencing life's stages. Falling down is not about failure, but about experiencing the stages of life, which are order, disorder, then there's reorder, which surprisingly takes us back to order. This resetting makes us realize that falling down is an opportunity to come to know God, an opportunity for order to become divine. I suggest that you start working with understanding the principle of divine order. Again, the same law that holds the planets and the stars in perfect harmony in the universe is operating in us. When things look confused and as if they are going all wrong, you only need to affirm divine order, and you will immediately begin to reverse the flow. Some years ago, back in the day, when downtown 5 o'clock traffic was bumper to bumper, and there I was inching along, and my car just stopped. You can imagine how I felt. Horns were blowing. And I just held onto the steering wheel, and I said, divine order, divine order, divine order. And 2 men showed up at my door, the car door. One was black, the other was white. And they said, can we help you? And I said, my car stopped. I don't know what's wrong. And they said, you're out of gas. I didn't know it at the time, but my gas gauge wasn't working. And I said, well, there's no filling station around here. They didn't say anything. They just went back to the back of the car and pulled up this huge gas can and started pouring gas in my tank. And when I turned around, well, they told me to start the car. I started the car. I turned around to thank them. They were gone. I didn't see them come. I didn't see them go. But anyway, the point being, the flow was reversed, and I went on my merry way. And that's only one example of divine order with me. But now, I want you to hear this, and I want to make it perfectly clear. I am not talking about magic or miracles. I'm talking about training the mind. Divine order just doesn't happen. No, we have our part in the establishment of it by making an adjustment in consciousness to align our thoughts with perfect universal harmony.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Order is the process that we call forth to move the law in consciousness, and it is then expressed and manifested in mind, body, and affairs.
Amen.
So you see, it's not magic, it's consciousness, Christ consciousness. This is how we reverse the flow of things. Sadly, some people get trapped and they stay in disorder. They pitch a tent there, thinking this is the norm, this is where I am, and not choosing to transition. they lose their spiritual balance with such thoughts as, I lost everything in the flood or fire. I lost my job. I didn't get the job. I have a relationship loss, a missed opportunity. And some of us can get trapped by results of a political election. Or something more mundane like your flight being canceled. These things can make you lose your balance. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Sometimes life feels like a jumble of challenges, and we may not even know where to even start. However, there can be spiritual balance, even though there is chaos happening all around us, including things that are not always comfortable. We have a choice. We can make a decision to bring full, full presence, Christ consciousness to any situation at any given time. This is divine order. We can move from disorder to reorder just by resetting. I read and study many different books, listen to various lectures, but I seem to always circle back to where I started. Basic unity teachings. I find it very grounding. Speaking of basics, on Wednesdays with Darren Wells, we are studying Myrtle Fillmore's How to Let God Help You. Now, even though I have read it several times, it is still fresh. This is a reorder or resetting experience for me. Maybe for you, it's a certain scripture, a poem, or prayer. Our Reverend Jan Seward taught me to use Psalms 23. And she says, now you have to personalize it and make it your own. So my personal Psalms 23 is, God, you are my shepherd. You always lead me in the right direction. You let me rest beside still waters so I can catch my breath. Even though I may walk through the seeming dark valley of change, I have no fear because you are with me every step of the way. My life is full of your grace, goodness, and mercy. Do what it takes to get you back in the race to win. It's not running along just for the sake of looking like you're in the race. This is pretending. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. No. To me, that's demeaning. It's immature. It's a cop-out for not getting serious about your spiritual growth. It's all about our mindset and our belief about the situation. It's about our consciousness. What you think about yourself is who you become. Yes, you're human, but foremost, you are spiritual. You are spirit. Has anyone ever asked you, or perhaps you posed the question, are you religious or spiritual? The root word religion comes from Latin, originally means to tie, to bind. From this perspective, the way I see it, we are bound, we're tied to God. There's no separation, no distance between us. We are chained to love. God is in us, and we are in God. Our human form is just an extension of God in all its glory. So am I religious and abounding? Yes, you bet I am. Are we spiritual? Yes. We are consciously aware, awake, and alert to the Spirit of God in us. We think from this consciousness. We live, move, and have our being in it. We are in communion with it. We are one with it. Are we religious or spiritual? The answer, we are both and. When we are transitioning from disorder to reorder, we get a clearer understanding of the spiritual principle, let go and let God. Letting go means to reflect, to go within, to go internal, to discover the eternal. Letting go means you are accepting what is without attachment. Letting go of judgment or labeling the appearance that is before you. If you don't do this, you will allow mistaken identity to take place, which is belief in your body and ego mind, your shadow side, rather than divine identity. What you believe and identify with is who you become. The question is, who do you believe or identify with? Your ego mind, that shadow side, which keeps you in that disorder stage, or God? Let me kind of help you with the answer, if I ask. Who brought you into this world? Your mind or God? Who?
God.
Who makes your heart beat?
God.
Who makes your lungs breathe?
God.
We are so blessed. Know that we are going to fail. We will have the feeling of disorder many times during this life journey. It's human nature to resist change, particularly when it comes in the form of adversity or challenges. Don't let it frighten you. Don't let it stop you. Just remember, God is your safety net. God is saying, I got this. I've got you in the palm of my hand. I am so in love with you that is if there was none other. Your birth is like the first and only. I love you. You are safe. Get out of my way. Whatever path I led you to, I will get you through. Let me tell you, we are made to bounce. It's part of our spiritual DNA. We have the power to bounce back. The only thing we need to do is make a choice. Now, if we think of our choice as a win or a lose, guess what? We will lose every time. If we make our choice wholeheartedly, coming from a sacred space of union of our heart and mind, which is Christ's consciousness, then and only then it is a win-win situation. This is divine order. Christ's consciousness is divine order. Contrary to what you want to believe, this life journey is not a bed of roses all the time. That would be Pollyannish to think that way. There is and will be adversity, in every life, no matter how rich and famous or poor. Think of Queen Elizabeth. All of her challenges were made public for 70 years. I don't know of a person or a family who isn't going through or been through something. Do you? There are crossroads of life where choices have to be made. Here's the thing. We can go from order to disorder to reorder and back to order in a split second, as Safar, the Olympic runner, did. It can be minutes, hours, months, or 40 years. It can take as long as you want it to. It's your choice. When we reorder, we are resetting. We get it. Time to get up and go. You may have to do double time, just as Safar, the Olympic runner, running double time to catch up and surpass the other runners to win. We may have to work 2 jobs for a while just to catch up. Reorder. Activating that reset is a beautiful and amazing thing to do for yourself, and a beautiful, present company included, being with such pride when adult children go back to college to get a degree, often while working full-time and raising a family, or witnessing someone overcoming addiction to become productive citizens. Reorder, activating that reset, is God's grace in action. Reorder is remembering who we are and practicing the principle of divine order. Dedicate yourselves to training your mind. Get in the habit of practicing when things are going well, when life feels like a bed of roses. This way, you're setting yourself up to overcome when things seem to go sideways. If you train your mind, then you are already set up for victory. Spirit within will have already prepared a table for you right in the presence of change. Victory is already yours. We are here to enjoy and experience life in this world of form. The beauty, the laughter, crying, yes, even falling down. Just don't identify. Let it happen. Order is eternal. Disorder is a transient stage in our journey. It's a temporary experience having a beginning, a duration, and an ending. As soon as you experience a fall, that is a diversion of attention, seeing the world with physical eyes, thinking of the past and getting caught up in projecting into the future, you can make an immediate correction as soon as you recognize what is happening. Don't hesitate. Sometimes you feel you don't want to take the lead. Do it anyway. Ask yourself, are my thoughts in order with the divine? Am I aligned with the universe in consciousness? When you train your mind and practice the principle of the divine order, the whole universe will work together to lift you out of disorder in all matters. Now, when I say the whole universe, think of it this way. A wave in the ocean has no power. Absolutely no power. It's the force of the whole ocean that gives power to that wave. When I say the whole universe will work together, this includes the cosmos, the sun, moon, stars, all matter, every molecule, atom, subatomic particle, visible and invisible, all of nature coming together as a mighty force to give power to you to make what seemed impossible possible. Jesus reminded us, it's not me. I am like you, the powerless wave. It's the whole force of the universe behind me, around me, and within me that gives me power to do the work that I do.
Yep.
Which is teaching, healing, raising the dead. Divine order. Understand it. Claim it. Declare it. Affirm it. Decree it in every aspect of your life, body, and affairs. In the middle of the storm of life, declare divine order, and it will stop. Nothing is impossible with God. The wings of spirit will lift you and carry you over the finish line. God will get you through. You see, when you really know who you are, it doesn't matter if you fall. You can begin again and again. You can accept consequences, positive or negative, because of your certainty of a divine power greater than you, greater than the circumstance. In your core, know there is a divine purpose for a fall. We fall and will continue to fall, and every time Spirit will use it and make it purposeful. When you get into the Christ consciousness of divine order and hold it firmly, not deviating, you find yourself functioning on a new level. You learn to appreciate your faults and failures as much as your success or wins. I want you to know this morning, there is a mighty force in the universe with unlimited power, and it's available all the time to all of us to use for our good. Jesus said, the Father, meaning that mighty force, this unlimited power in me, does the work. And from this consciousness, all things are possible with God. This is divine order. And when you choose to be in conscious alignment, then you are in order with the divine. Let's take this affirmation. I choose to be in order with the divine right now. Together? I choose to be in order with the divine right now. And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Our own Shirley Williams. Yes. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you. Thank you for that inspiring message. Divine order. So stay tuned. We have Roxy Ball giving us the next installment on this powerful principle of divine order next week. And we'll learn more about that shadow that Shirley spoke to us about. And now is the time in our service when we tithe the gift of our treasure. We prosper through the act of giving. Our ministry is supported by your tax-deductible tithes, gifts, and love offerings. And we are so grateful for you. We live in an abundant universe. So I invite you to affirm with me our offering blessing. I'll speak it once and invite you to repeat it. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And we give thanks to all of those who make this service possible, and especially to you for being here, either here in our sanctuary or remotely. Again, we give thanks to all of those who make this Sunday service the wonderful celebration and experience that it is each week. We give thanks to Jim Maneri, our music and technical director. We give thanks to our board members. And again, let us give a warm thanks to our speaker this morning, Shirley Williams. Do we have any announcements this week? If we do, oh yes, our potluck is this is third Sunday, so we're next door. We invite all of you to come and fellowship with us. There's always a feast to be had. So bring your appetite. Again, we have our midweek renewal services being led by Darren Wells. He is an LUT in training. He'll probably be there by next year, no matter what. But he's studying along with others on Zoom, Myrtle Fillmore's How to Let God Help You. And that will continue through October the 26th. And now, let us affirm our prayer of protection together. The light, if you want to stand for this, please, you're welcome. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. In closing, let us raise our consciousness, one person, one mind, one heart and soul. Now, please join me in singing our hymnal number 3. Let there be peace on earth.
I choose to be in order with the divine. Together.
I choose to be in order with the divine.
When